What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be talking about the Beretta 92X Performance. Before we do that, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys as always. You guys keep the channel alive, and I really appreciate that. Because of that, we do some pretty cool stuff on the Patreon page. If you go over there, you'll find exclusive content. I usually bounce video ideas off you, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to direct message me over there. That is the best way to get a hold of me. Also want to mention my Instagram, doing some cool stuff on there as well. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go over there and check me out. It's Honest Outlaw Reviews. And finally, along with the link in the description for the Patreon page, there's also a link for a local shelter that I like to support. So if you're going to do anything, go down there and support those kids. They could really use your help. The Beretta 92X Performance was a gun that I have been eagerly waiting for since SHOT Show. I once held it there and I was pretty excited about it. I've been waiting for Beretta to dive into the USPSA IDPA market for quite a while, and I think they made a pretty big splash. The performance model is obviously built for competition. If you've ever actually picked one up and taken a look at it for just 1 second, I think you could figure that out. The main difference, before we get into all the other differences, there are a lot, but the one you'll notice right when you pick up the gun is going to be the weight. This is a hefty girl. I mean, she is chunky. It is, I believe, 49 ounces, or maybe 50 ounces with the magazine in, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So it is one of the heaviest, if not the heaviest gun for production class that you can run for USPSA. There is kind of a trend on going with the heavier guns, although I personally like a gun somewhere between 30 and 36 usually, maybe up to 42, something like that. But I don't like when you get into the super heavy guns. I feel like it has a detriment when it comes to drawing, transitioning, stuff like that. So overall, though, I think a lot of people like it, obviously, because it's been a fairly large hit. They've changed quite a few other things as well. Number one, they've added fiber optic sights, you can see right here, with a blacked out rear, which I really like, and is the preferred sighting setup not only for me, but for most competitive shooters. The rear sight is relatively low, even though it does stick out toward the end to give you that extra sight radius, and it's also adjustable, which is perfect in my opinion. If you want a good competition gun with its iron sighted, you want to have a adjustable rear sight so you can zero in that gun perfectly. It has new serrations on here, which I think are pretty cool, and it runs a heavier Brigadier slide to match better and to add more weight with the steel lower there, but it also ends up cycling the gun a little bit faster somehow. At least they said they increased the cycle time, and I believe they have. So with the increased cycle time and the reduced reset trigger, which is phenomenal, by the way, they have an all-new trigger in here. This is one of the better triggers that I've seen on a gun, and I don't mean just on a Beretta, but I mean on a gun. Very light reset. It's my CZ Custom Shadow 2 is better, but the standard Shadow 2 out of the box, I actually believe the Beretta single action trigger is a little bit better. However, the double action trigger, on my opinion, with the Shadow 2 is going to be a little bit better. So overall, the Beretta still has a phenomenal trigger. They've also added this gas pedal. This is the takedown lever, but this is very reminiscent of the SIG 320. They've been doing that lately. Some people really like that. Some people really hate it. Some people say not to press your thumb up against the slide and use that gas pedal. I got to tell you, if you press your thumb up against the slide, nothing's going to happen, other than the fact you're going to get a little better recoil control. The slide lock, slide release there is recessed and is very nice, and you won't have any trouble not riding that. Even with my big old thumbs, I can barely reach it. And the reason why I like the Beretta 92X so much is this frame-mounted safety. How in the hell did it take that long for Beretta to put a frame-mounted safety on their gun? I mean, they had it on the original 92s, I believe, and then went away with it for the slide-mounted safety decocker, which I think is the biggest detriment to the pistol, and I'm not in the minority there. Most people that run the Beretta really prefer to have the safety on the frame, partly because it's more intuitive to use, number one. Number two, you don't accidentally engage it when you're running the slide. And on a Beretta slide, as you can see, the top is open there, and the barrel is exposed. So if you want to do the over-the-top sort of maneuver there to rack the slide, to avoid that, you're also going to burn the shit out of your hand. So you want to run it like this. You want to run it like this, which I've seen a lot of people do. You want to run it like this. The majority of people come in the back and run it like that. And if you're going to do that, that safety decocker gets in the way, and you have a tendency to turn that baby on safe, which will decock the pistol, and when you pull the trigger, nothing's going to happen. With the frame-mounted safety, you're not going to have that happen, number one. And number two, you're also going to be able to intuitively push down on it and use it for recoil control. If this baby needed any more recoil control, you got a little bit extra there. So you got that. You have the gas pedal, you have the added texture from the previous versions, you have the steel frame, and you have the more correctly timed slide, in my personal opinion, leading to a very soft recoiling pistol. All right, we're at about 50 yards here and see how we do. You can see the recoil control, even at 50 yards, is very impressive. The Extreme S trigger not only is really good for speed, but it's also really good for accuracy as well. This is a very, very accurate pistol. It's actually made it on my top 5 most accurate pistols I've ever shot, because I can barely miss with this thing. At 100 yards, I had no trouble hitting with the iron sights. The iron sights were on right out of the box. And as you can see, the trigger pull on this, little take up there, but it's very, very impressive. I would put it in the top 5 triggers I've ever tried. Wow, that's pretty accurate. It's easy to shoot too. Now, the oversized controls, the better checkering, the gas pedal, all those are great, but one of the cons to this pistol that I don't love, believe it or not, is the extended beaver tail. Now, this does help. However, it does help with getting a little bit higher, I guess, but I've never had a problem with slide bite or anything like that on a Beretta 92 personally, and I think it just kind of pushes your hand down a little bit more. However, they also undercut the trigger guard a little bit to make it a little bit higher, and I really do like that modification, because the Beretta has always been a little bit small for me, and as you can see there, it does have an included magwell, which is nice, so it is legal for production division and stuff like that, because you can't have an extended magwell. However, that's legal. The problem I have with it, I think they should have extended the grip overall, because if you look at something like a Shadow 2, for example, you can see here I have plenty of room for my hand because they're running an extended grip for extended mags. The Beretta 92X still has the standard 15-round magazines. Why is that the case? I don't know. I assume it's to not have to redesign their grip panels and stuff, because it comes with 2 different grip panels and it will accept the 92 grips, obviously. But I would have liked to see that extended down a little bit more, and then instead of running 2 15-round magazines, I would have really liked to have seen a 18, 20, 22-round magazine right out of the box, and and if you're going to run it for a competition pistol and charge over $1,000, I would have liked to have seen 3 or even 4 of these. The Nistan finish works really well for me personally. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's one of the coolest looking guns I've seen in a long time. The Beretta 92 is a classic looking gun and probably one of the better looking pistols that have came out ever. And this, I believe, is an even better looking version of that. It has a mix of classic looks with the Beretta, with a little bit of mean there, with the cutout on the front of the trigger guard and the full Picatinny rail, which I like. The actual serrations make it look a little bit meaner as well. And then you add just a little bit more class with the stainless finish. And altogether, I think it looks like an excellent pistol. I'm a big fan of how it looks. And as I said before, the accuracy is amazing. Pairing those sights with the trigger, you're not going to get a much more accurate pistol in my personal opinion. But accuracy is nothing without reliability. I gotta tell you though, the 92X doesn't slouch in that category as well. Just like an average 92, which I think are some of the most reliable pistols on earth, the Beretta 92X is also extremely reliable. They've changed the timing a little bit, and they've changed some of the parts a little bit, but they've kept that standard reliability. I shot 1,000 rounds through multiple different types of ammunitions, from 115 to 147. A lot of people shoot 115 in competition, a lot of people shoot 147, so I tried them both. And then we ran some 124 NATO spec as well. All of it ran perfectly fine without cleaning for 1,000 rounds. I did lubricate it, but I did not clean it. So overall, the reliability of the gun is just as its legendary counterpart. And because it says Beretta 92 on the side, accessories will not be a problem. I'm not sure if every holster fits this gun, but the one Beretta 92 holster that I did have that was competition styled, that I got from eBay, it's like a cheapo holster, it actually fit this gun no problem. So I assume that other holsters are going to fit as well. However, with the redesigned rail and things like that, it's hard to say if they're all going to fit. But I bet you're going to be able to find some. You're also going to be able to find sights if you want. You're also going to be able to find tons of magazines for really cheap, which is the most important accessory. You're going to need a holster and magazines to go out there and shred if you want to buy this gun, so both of those things are going to be available. On top of that, different grips. I would recommend getting into some lock grips, most likely. So they're some of the best grips on the market. And overall, I think those are all the accessories you're probably going to need, except for one, which I really wish they would have came out with, but I guess enter Langdon Tactical. If you want a red dot mount, you're going to have to go one of two ways. You're going to have to go with a dovetail mount, which I have here on my Beretta 92, or my Beretta M9A3, I should say. As you can see there, you can get that right from Trigicon. 60, 70 bucks, throw that bitch on there, and you can put on a RMR or an SRO or whatever other optics mount that you try to dovetail in there. They make several. But Langdon Tactical recently came out with an optics cut for the Beretta 92, which is, I believe, the first time that's ever happened. So if you would like to get an optics cut on your 92X, I bet you can send it to Langdon, and I bet they can do it, similar to the primary arms optics cut I have on my Shadow 2. And that's fine and all, at least you're able to do it. However, the Shadow 2 does come with an optics-ready mount system now. And several other guns that run in production, like the Canic, which is going to be significantly less than the Beretta, also come optics-ready. So if you're looking to get into carry optics, I would not recommend the Beretta 92X. Some of the other problems that I've seen with the 92X, other than the fact that it doesn't come with an optics mount, is the fact that it is just a little bit too heavy for me personally. I like the weight of the original 92 quite a bit. Yeah. That around 30 ounces is my personal favorite weight, because you can use it for a competition gun, you can use it for a carry gun, you can use it for a home defense gun, no big deal. The wife can shoot it, she doesn't have to feel like she's holding up a boat anchor, and it's not going to be a problem. However, for most of you guys out there, I think for its intended purpose, the weight is definitely going to be a pro. It just depends on how you use it. Overall, I gotta say, other than the fact that it needs to be red dot compatible in the future, I mean, the Shadow took a few years, so I imagine Beretta will come out with a version as well, especially since they've worked with Langdon in the past. They need to come with some more magazines, number one. They need to come with a higher magazine capacity, number two, because there's no mag capacity limit on carry optics. There's a capacity limit on production of 10 rounds, so it doesn't much matter. And it would be nice to have longer mags with longer base plates, so it's easier to palm coming out of the magazine pouch also. I'd like to see a version come with longer grip, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. And other than all my little minute gripes, which really don't mean anything, the Beretta 92X performance is exactly what I thought it would be. It's a high-speed Beretta 92. So if you like the 92 platforms, you like the M9 platform, and you want to get into competition, this, for sure, is the best-case scenario. Now, if you don't know anything about the Beretta 92 platform and you're looking to get into a double-action pistol for competition like production or carry optics, I know a gun that might be a little bit better. However, we are going to do a versus video on these two if you'd like to see that. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Oh, hey, I forgot to tell you what price it was. So one of the biggest pros of the Beretta 92 before I go is the price. And I can't believe I didn't tell you in the beginning. I said it was over $1,000, but it's not much over $1,000. The Beretta 92X Performance comes in at around $1,100. At least that's what I paid for it at my local shop. And if I can find one at a local shop in the middle of nowhere for $1,100, I'm sure you could find one for a similar price as well. So at least they are available, and at least they are relatively low priced, at least compared to some of its competition. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your Oklahoma shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.